Ultimately, that's what it's all about, is finding a way to, continue to produce oil and gas, but in the most methane efficient way possible.
Scott Morton, you're the Energy Transition Manager with IKM Testing. You recently won an award for innovation at the North Star Business Awards. Congratulations. What is this innovation?
So it was for our MEQ service, specifically one we called SLIC, which is like the source level measurement, basically looking at quantifying fugitive emissions on offshore and onshore installations. And basically we've taken an existing technology and found a new way to apply it, and we have produced really, really good results with it.
Great. So that is basically testing and monitoring methane emissions on North Sea assets, is that right?
Yeah, it's basically really around the quantification piece. So it's not the leak detection and remediation. It's more about getting really accurate numbers so that people can report more accurately, but also look at where those emissions are coming from so that they can target their programs to make best, the most effective change, I suppose, when they're trying to reduce those emissions overall.
Great. So you've been growing very strongly on the back of the introduction of this technology. When did you launch it on the market, and who was your first customer?
So Total were our first customer. They've been a really great support to us. I think that the methane space is something that they've really pushed very hard on. They've developed their own drone-based technology and things like that. We've been working on it since about 2021, and it's been really interesting because in a way we were kind of developing it in a void because it was such a new space and it wasn't well defined. And we didn't know if what we were making would suit the reality. But when we got that opportunity with Total to go offshore and see their assets, then that level that we were measuring to, really showed that was kind of where the emissions are actually at. And so you're not having to use generic factors that are overestimating. You can produce really, really accurate results.
I think this is not just a problem in the North Sea that you're tackling, it's a global problem because we know that methane is one of the most pernicious global GEGs that there are. So what could you do next with this technology?
Well, yeah, that's a big part of it. We've started doing a lot of tenders for international work, the EU methane legislation, the fact that they're getting other countries to comply to it for any imports by the beginning of 2027 has meant that there is a lot of focus on that internationally. So yeah, we're tendering all over the world in places like Kazakhstan and Nigeria and stuff like that, where everyone's really getting, realizing they have to take control of their methane emissions.
Right. And are you specifically focused on the oil and gas industry, or do you think there's other industries that need to tackle this as well?
There probably are. I think there's more than enough work for us in the oil and gas space anyway at the moment.
I know. Get those guys sorted out first, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think in a way as well, it's probably the one where you can do a lot around fixing it. You can take actions to make a difference, and I think ultimately that's what it's all about, is finding a way to continue to produce oil and gas, but in the most methane efficient way possible, so that you're doing as little damage to the environment, within that process as you can. And part of that is making sure that you know exactly where you're leaking it and what you need to do to kind of stop that from happening.
Yeah, right. So, we kind of hear that, the North Sea is really struggling, as an industry, there's maybe not as much work or maintenance going on, but it sounds like you've cracked this because you grew significantly last year and you've got quite aggressive growth targets in coming years. So is it on the basis of the technology, and what else have you got in the pan?
Yeah, I think across the whole business we've done really well. We're like a sort of diversified, I suppose, service provider, and we offer services in pipeline process, wells, things like that. And across the business, we've done really, really well. We've been gaining all these frame agreements recently, which has been fantastic. We've just taken a lease on a new building to expand, so that we can grow our teams. And at the moment, we've just been really, really successful, and it's been excellent. I think it just comes down to that, the service quality that people realise that, ultimately provides them with savings. If we're getting them doing the job right the first time, then that's the best solution for them.
Great. And if you're growing your numbers of staff, what do you have right now, and what are you kind of looking to do for recruitment?
Oh God, now you're asking the wrong person this question.
Oh, sorry.
I think we're around 120 at the moment. Yeah, and I mean I think we've got a few ads up at the moment. A lot around sort of like our process services. With the delivery there, and then within my department we're also looking at people within the energy transition to sort of offer high voltage cable termination and testing. So yeah, it's sort of a lot of opportunities at the moment.